Well, I figured I was really deep into the Hamclock, so I'm going to show you guys some stuff. Okay, so deep into the Hamclock here. On page 6. And we're on page 1. This is going to be the page that you come into when you first boot up, and it asks you click anywhere to set up. And you have to put a call sign in here. It has to be a call sign, at least on the version I'm on. And then you put your grid in here, which is completely wrong. So it's generating a grid based on. It'll generate a grid based on your call sign, I think. I just don't want my call sign here, but that's just me. The latitude and longitude, I'm just going to come over and do the general grid, but when you just do the general grid, you're not going to get as accurate of information. I think it's 34 UO or OU. Anyway, so you can either click done or you can go to the next page. But I guess it's not going to accept that. Let's go back. And that's not going to work. I'm going to say, I'm just guessing what the number is here, without looking it up. I keep hitting my other keyboard. Okay, mine's like a negative 12. Negative 12 point something. And I need to. I don't know why it's not. Okay. Let me click on it over here. Why can I not move this? Backspace, backspace. Come on, man. See how it's completely changed my grid? So I want, where's the key? Negative 12. And it's just not letting me do it. Oh my god. So this is why you really shouldn't use the Pi 3. Or I mean the Pi 0. Okay, so negative 12.0, and then I don't think it's supposed to be north, but anyway, I need to look it up again. It's ridiculous. So you need to come up with the number like this. Go on QRZ, look up what your number is exactly, get it in there, and get it to like the last 4 digits. So once you get to that, get that done, it'll automatically pull up the correct grid square for you. So let's see here. There's a bunch of different things on here. You can, if you know what they are, you can turn them on. If you don't, then don't. Map, center, longitude. I really don't know what that does. So date and order, month, day, year. Week starts on Sunday. That shouldn't be correct. Why would you want Sunday? They don't give you anything but imperial, British, or metric for units. scroll direction, pane rotation, and here's where you can change the map rotation and things like that. If you don't do that, then it's like 90 seconds by default. Now here you can get in here and change a bunch of different colors for different things, and I honestly don't know what half of them mean, so I'm not messing with them. So once you've done all that, you just click done. Now I'm on a Pi 0 2W, which is probably the worst thing you could ever use to do this, because it just can't quite do it. So a lot of times I end up with issues with mine. It just, anything happens, it's just too hard on it, and it will freeze up. But yeah, this is just kind of like, right now it's trying to acquire all your information here, let it do its thing. You'll see if it has an error. Mine has an error a lot of times. It's actually not showing like any kind of address from my connection, but I've been noticing that this is usually where the problem is when you have like a connectivity issue. Now I'm not sure if you can change anything here. Now this particular one tried to update to the latest version, but it can't do it. It failed. I don't know if it's just the Pi can't do it or something. Anyway, so it'll take a little while on the screen, and you'll see that ready. You can click skip, but it seems like that screws it up. Now on a regular Pi, this would like pop up right away, but because there's just not that much memory in these Pi Zeros, these things are really best left for running like a Wi-Fi hotspot for DMR. It's really asking it a lot to do this. So as it sits there and tries to boot, I'll show you, it's right there. This is the Pi. Now your typical hotspot, it'll have a Pi 0, but it won't be a 2W, so it's a single core. But you probably couldn't even get this to run on one of those. So this is going to sit here for a while. This is Thursday, January 1st, 1970, and then eventually it will start running and gathering information from the internet, and it should be okay. But I've been having a lot of issues with my internet here, and it's just screwing with everything. So it is what it is. So in order for me, I think I have to go in and I have to reinstall a new version of Raspberry and reconfigure my network and tell it to connect to that network. Because what happens is I can connect to a different network from this Pi here, but it'll kick me off. And when I reboot, it will just always go back to my old network. But I'm having problems with my old network. So a lot of this can be a major problem if you change your network and your name and all that, you know. You can see how slow this damn thing is. So anyway, it's going to be a minute. That's why I don't recommend you use one of these. It's saying negative spots. You can come and click on this, but it won't do anything usually. I honestly think in my case, I think it's an internet issue. I've been trying to connect to these other networks, but it doesn't want to do it. And I've tried a few times. See, look, it automatically reconnected, I think. We can try doing this. You see the map's starting to populate. I mean, like, it's really that bad. Now, it just refuses to connect to this new router that I've hooked up. So, there's either a problem with the new router, or maybe there's even a problem with this Pi. But, I don't know. It could be my home router, too. Could be having an issue. Who knows? And eventually, it will just reconnect back to the old network, whether or not I give it a password or not. Because that's what's stored in it. Now, it should connect immediately. I've gave it the correct password. I've clicked enter. I mean, this thing is just like, it just can't do it. So, it is what it is. It ran fine for a long time, and I don't know why it's not anymore. So it took me a while to even just shut down the Hamclock. So this is basically the browser. It's very drunken on the mouse. I told it to disconnect from Wi-Fi, so we'll turn it back on. Just see if it automatically connects to anything. It gives me a few different networks. So we're gonna try something else, and this is gonna make for kind of a long video, but now you can see that because that is my capture card. I'm capturing this thing from the USB output so that I can put it on the computer. So this is the Pi booting up. You see the little flashing cursor up in the left-hand corner. Now the Hamclock is supposed to start on its own. There's your Pi desktop. So when you click enter anywhere here, that's where I showed you that other menu. Just go ahead and click skip unless you need to configure it. And then we have this menu here. And when it pops up in the corner, I am going to click skip just because I don't want to sit here. And there isn't anything you can do for this Pi. You can't make it faster. If you have maybe some programs or something, then you might be able to. See, I clicked skip and didn't even respond. And it has connected to my regular network. We have a Google error. See, so we get a bunch of errors. And I told it to skip and it would not skip. So, and then it's going to just boot up the page like this. And eventually it'll fully load. Alright, so I just clicked on a certain part of the screen, and we'll see if it'll fail again. It got to maybe about like that far last time. But if you click on your version in the corner, it will usually start to do this. I'm also working on some changes on my home router to fix the channel to not auto. I think maybe it's hopping channels and doing something weird. My solution to most of these problems was to clone the network to another router, but the other router isn't working. I do have some Wi-Fi extenders, but again, we're having a problem, I think, with the Wi-Fi on the main router. So it's kind of a fun day Sunday. So we'll be back when this fails because it isn't moving fast. What did it say? Oh, yeah, update failed. It did it really fast that time. Operation timed out after blah 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 milliseconds. It's got to be our connection because nothing's working right here, guys. Nothing. So if you click anywhere to set up, there's your setup. There's your grid. You can come in here. You want the cluster? Yes or no. You want all these other things? Yes or no. Date and order. Colors. So we click done. And we wait and see what happens. Again, it's just not going to work. There's an internet issue. I know it's an internet issue because almost none of my stuff is working right. And it's all on the 2.4 gigahertz network that there's a problem. I think on the 5G network it's fine, but I don't know. I can't seem to fix it. Let's see. This is actually, this is ready in one. One. How many ones? See, we got new version available. Click yes. Try again. I really don't think it's gonna work. But if I can get the new version, it will allow me to change the name from a call sign to a title. That's moving pretty fast that time, but it's hard to say. Now it's strange because my Pi 3 that's running Hamclock is running it just fine. Yep, that's gonna fail again. Alright, that's it for me, guys. I'll be back when I find a solution.